Women's 100, Toulouse, Richardson, Hobbs, and Terry. That is going to be a great one. You got Toulouse running really well this year. Obviously, we've seen what Richardson's done with the wind-aided 10.5 and change, and then also the really smooth, controlled, comfortable, relaxed 200 that she ran. But Toulouse's been really solid. We've seen Hobbs run well. What are your expectations for this women's 100-meter race?
Well, I'm excited for Hobbs versus Richardson. I feel like Hobbs is the one runner that Sha'Carri hasn't raced on the U.S. side that can really show the true litmus test. I think while Sha'Carri's basically having a perfect season up to this point, this will be her first real test about whether or not she's going to be the U.S. favorite. Because Aleia Hobbs, as you know, she won U.S. indoors. She's been running well all the way from last year. She's been consistently finishing 1 or 2, and I think she's won every race she's run this year. It's just like Hobbs has been doing her own little Hobbs tour. Richardson has been doing the Richardson tour, and now the tours are clashing in L.A. for a great prize, a.k.a. the Grand Prix. But
Hobbs,
I think
Hobbs undefeated, you're right.
She's undefeated. So, yeah, this would be the first chance for Richardson to be like, no ifs, ands, or buts, I am the number 1 U.S. sprinter. Because I could see a world where Richardson is just the undisputed number 2 sprinter in the U.S. and Hobbs just happens to be number 1. But if Richardson does beat Hobbs, then no ifs, ands, or buts. Richardson is the favorite.
And listen, don't count out Toulouse. Toulouse is a veteran. Toulouse has been running really well. She's going to come to play in this race too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's not going to. I think it's going to get third.
I think if everybody's at their best, like given this point of the season, I think Richardson's got that higher gear, that higher level right now. But I think Toulouse could get this as well too. You laid out the stakes though pretty well. I think it's going to be.
I would
fun
argue.
To watch.
This is my argument. You ready for the argument?
Yeah. Don't say I would argue. Just argue it.
It is better for Richardson's next 3 months for her to lose this race to Hobbs, to get second to Hobbs. Because I feel like if she gets, because right now there's not, Richardson's like, she shows up, everyone is cheering for her, it's perfect, she's winning every race dominantly. It's like been kind of, except for that 1-200, but like whatever.
Yeah, people forgot about that immediately.
Right, yeah, we forgot. Yeah, except Kayla White, she hasn't forgotten. She's gonna.
I wouldn't either.
She's rewatched it on YouTube every day.
I would.
But Richardson's having kind of like a perfect season, and I think if she were to lose to Hobbs, it's going to keep that spark of like, hey, not getting complacent, not just assuming I got the bag, it's good, because then she can go into USA's knowing like, all right, I got to be locked in for USA's, because we know the past few USA's, or not past few, the first one and the third one. She wasn't locked in as much, right? She didn't do well as a true freshman out of LSU. Makes sense. Long season. And then last year, we thought like, hey, what's going on, right? 2021, she was locked in, but then stupid marijuana law screwed that up. But I just want to make sure, I think a way to keep Richardson locked in for USA's is for her to go into USA's with a loss to Hobbs and be like, all right, you got me at LA Grand Prix. I'm going to get you at USA's.
You're doing the whole team sports thing where the coach says it's
better
hungry
dogs run faster. She needs to become a hungry dog.
Well, I think she's motivated by the last couple of years too, and not being able to get to those global championships certainly is a motivating factor. Also, not just with her but with other athletes, there's just a different mindset when it comes to good for me in this race is just winning versus good for me in this race is coming up with a transcendent performance. And if the more she runs and the more she wins and the faster she runs, the expectations, they don't go away.
Yeah.
They just go up and up and up. And what happens when you lose, sometimes then you go into USA's or you go into a Diamond League type meet and you're just like, man, forget the time. Who cares? Let's just see if they can beat that field. And I think that is a different approach that people have. Like we saw for years and years, Bolt. How many times were just like, Bolt would run a 9.8 and everybody like, all right, cool. Whatever. Yeah. Because everybody was just comparing him to transcendent performance. Now, she's not to the Bolt level, obviously. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying when you have these athletes who are like on the cusp of putting down some legendary times, the natural reaction is just to always just compare him and just forget about the field.
Yeah.
And I think what snaps that back is like, oh no, wait, hold on. There's somebody else here who's in this race. There's a couple people in this race who could win it. So let's define success as just getting a victory and moving on.